you want to kick us off this week?
Okie dokie. Greetings, listeners. Welcome to Oscar Fever.
That's right. We're getting excited.
You look good in a tux, Billy.
Got my wings in the oven. I got my beers on ice. I'm ready to watch the Oscars, y'all. In 3 days.
I was going to say, those wings are going to be crispy.
I like them crispy.
Okay.
I like them dry. I don't like a lot of flavour on my wings. But yeah, here we are. We're here to talk Oscars.
Oscar's something that I'm equally obsessive about and infuriated by.
Yeah, so I love the Oscars, and yeah, I don't really care who gets them. How long have you been thinking about your Oscar tips here?
Actually, maybe not as far as you'd think. Normally I'd do it a few days beforehand and just kind of sit there in front of the sheet and be like, try and channel your inner Academy member.
Yeah,
because, of course, you can't tip like yourself. You're not going for what you think should win.
No. This year, you've actually seen every single picture that's up for Best Picture.
I've seen all of the Best Picture nominees,
yeah.
Which this year is 9, which we're both in furious agreement.
It's too many.
Silly.
It's too many. It's ridiculous. First up, let's talk about the snubs. Before we talk about who is nominated, let's talk about who's not. Any major snubs for you?
The most glaring one for me, and I think we're probably going to be in furious agreement on this one, is that with some of the things that are up for Best Picture, we don't have the Florida Project.
We don't have the Florida Project. I don't think the Florida Project gets anywhere near enough love in the nominations. It's got Best Supporting Actor. In my eyes, it could have easily had Best Actress, Supporting Actress, Screenplay, Director, and Best Picture. They're the ones that I think it should have had. And it makes no sense to me that it doesn't. Elsewhere,
Blade Runner 2049 has 5 nominations.
Okay, same amount as Lady Bird.
Isn't enough to get it into Best Picture. In a world where there's 9 nominees, Blade Runner would certainly have made mine.
I didn't see Blade Runner this year.
Well, nice knowing you.
I am furious. I want to vomit with rage that The Big Sick didn't get anything outside of the screenplay nod. I think this could have been up for Best Picture. I don't think it could have won, but I think it deserves to be in the conversation. And I would have liked to have seen Ray Romano get a supporting nomination because he was great in this movie. And I don't know. I think it would have just been nice. To me, it's disappointing that we don't get Ray Romano up there. Deborah, I did it. I won the Oscar, Deborah.
So I'm sitting here looking at who's up for Best Supporting Actor, and I really liked The Big Sick. Not as much as you, but I liked it, and I thought Ray Romano was good. There's no one who is nominated that I would knock out for Ray Romano.
I'm going to be contentious here, and I'm sure you'll disagree with me. I love the guy. I love him. I think he's fantastic, but I don't think that Woody Harrelson should have been up for supporting when Ray Romano's not. I think Woody Harrelson's fantastic, but I think of the ones who are up there for supporting, I would have knocked him out.
I could certainly knock out Woody Harrelson, but it would be for Michael Stuhlbarg in Call Me By Your Name. Some people were saying Armie Hammer should be up for Call Me By Your Name. No, Michael Stuhlbarg should be. Yeah. Michael Stuhlbarg was in every good movie this year, basically.
I think he was
everywhere.
Is he in 3?
He's in 3 of the Best Picture nominees.
Yeah, there you go. That's pretty good work. What are your thoughts on I, Tonya not getting a Best Picture nomination? I know that you didn't love it, but given that it's got several acting nominations and it's up for editing, and usually Best Editing is pretty closely linked with Best Picture, I was surprised to see it not even get a nomination.
I'm not shocked.
You're not shocked?
I mean, I, Tonya is a film that I really liked.
Yeah?
For me, it doesn't need to be nominated for Best Picture.
That's fair enough. Let's talk about Wonder Woman, which I personally don't think was snubbed, but I've seen a lot of people talk about it being snubbed. I don't know what I would have nominated it for.
Yeah, I don't think Wonder Woman needed to be up, to be honest.
I mean, like we said in our Black Panther episode, I think it's an important movie. The one, I haven't seen this, but I believe you have. What are your thoughts on Mudbound not getting a Best Picture nod despite being up for a lot of other categories?
Mudbound would have been narrowly missing out for me. I liked Mudbound. Yeah, good movie. For me, wouldn't make the cut for Best Picture nominee.
All right. The only other thing I want to talk about before we hop into, our choices, the state of the Oscars. Do you think that Hollywood is changing in its choices for the Oscars? Like, I'm really glad that there are some interesting fresh movies like Lady Bird, Get Out that are getting noms, but they still throw all this. I feel like they could nominate more stuff like that. Like, I haven't seen The Post or The Darkest Hour, but to me they just look like cookie cutter history. Like, to me, there's nothing interesting about a Spielberg historical drama with Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks. That just sounds so bland to me and like Oscar bait. Like, I haven't seen it, so I probably shouldn't comment. But to me, it's like these things just take up spots that could be given to films that actually do interesting things.
And if in a world where there was 5 nominees, you kind of cut that out.
But do you think they would? This is what I'm asking. Do you think the state of the Oscars are actually changing?
It is. It is. I mean,
yeah.
10 years ago, Moonlight doesn't win Best Picture. And with the broadening of who makes up the Academy, the members of the Academy is changing and it is evolving. And that's not going to happen overnight.
No.
But yeah, there's no way that 10 years ago we lived in a world where Moonlight won Best Picture. I don't think.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also don't think that 10 years ago we live in a world where Peel and Gerwig get nominated for director.
Yeah,
so
I agree with you there.
I think that, yeah, it is changing.
Do you think 10 years ago we would have had a movie with a lady fucking a fish get nominated?
Oh, yeah, people are always into that.
All right, I've got some fun tidbits for you as well. This is the first year that a Netflix film has been nominated. Mudbound. It had a very limited theatrical release, basically just enough to allow it for Oscar, contention. This year marks Meryl Streep's 21st nomination.
21. Meryl, you boss.
On the music side of things, we've got Alexander Desplat's 9th nomination, Hans Zimmer's 11th, and John Williams' 51st.
51?
He now holds the record, the most nominations for any living person, Walt Disney, with 59.
Oh, Walt Disney.
59. This is Roger Deakins' 14th nomination.
14th without a win.
14th. Greta Gerwig is only the 5th female to ever be nominated for Best Director. And this is the first female to be nominated since Catherine Bigelow won 8 years ago. And Rachel Morrison is the first female cinematographer to ever be nominated.
Ever.
There's some fun tidbits for you. So let's get into it.
Let's start doing some categories.
What category do you want to start with? You lead the way.
What about editing? So up for editing, we have Jonathan Amos and Paul McLeese, probably got that last name wrong, for Baby Driver.
Yep.
We have Lee Smith for Dunkirk. Mm-hmm. We have Tatiana S. Regal. Actually, one of the categories at the Oscars where women have historically actually been recognised is editing. She's up for I, Tonya. We have Sydney Walensky for The Shape of Water, and we have John Gregory for 3 Billboards.
Yes. Now this, for me, I think is one of the toughest categories.
Yeah, I agree.
It is interesting that, as I said, this category is usually so tightly aligned with Best Picture, and yet here we've got 2 films that aren't even up for Best Picture. Did Baby Driver even get any other noms? See, that could be a contender just because of the story and the interest around how it was edited. Because very famously, it was all edited on location as they shot, which in itself is an achievement.
Yeah, like they wouldn't move on. Right would be like, are we good to move on?
Yes.
And he'd have to like cut the thing.
So,
that was Paul McLeese on set doing that.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, yeah, that does work to the music you've already picked.
And that was kind of your offline edit. They would still then tweak it and clean it up.
Yep.
But that in itself is, that's
a pretty astonishing achievement.
Yeah, it is. So, but personally, I think that Shape of Water is the best edited film of those. We spoke about that in our Shape of Water episode about how I thought the editing was very flowing. I didn't feel like there were any, you don't even notice the cuts. It just meanders from one shot to the next. There's always very good shot motivation. Could also go to Dunkirk.
Yeah, Dunkirk's got the several stories happening at once, which people seem to be attracted to, I think.
Yeah. In my opinion, Shape of Water should win. I think that Dunkirk will win. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I probably agree that Dunkirk's best placed. I could see Shape of Water winning it in the scenario that it becomes, and this is just me guessing, that this year's Shape of Water will be the, if I'm not sure who to vote for
Shape of Water.
I'm voting for Shape of Water.
Makes sense. I could see that being a surprise win.
But yeah, Dunkirk would be my tip for it. Now, editing's one of those things for me as a category where I think most often gets confused with best. Mm-hmm. And even though Baby Driver is the most obvious kind of most edited, I'd vote for Baby Driver.
Really?
Because I do think that, one, it is really well edited, and if you go with that old thing of if the award is actually for achievement in editing, I would give it to them.
Well, you want to hear what Sportsbet has to say?
Sure.
Because here we go. I've got the numbers right here. If you were betting on Baby Driver, you'd be getting $3.60 for your dollar. Dunkirk is in the lead at $1.25.
Wow,
which is almost a lock. And then from there, we go to Shape of Water at $10.90 and Three Billboards at $39. How about we go on to visual effects?
I was going to say, why don't we go to your home patch?
So up for visual effects, we've got Planet of the Apes.
The War 4.
Yes. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Blade Runner 2049, Kong Skull Island, and Star Wars The Last Jedi.
So the only one of these I haven't seen is Kong Skull Island because, wow, I did not want to see that film.
Well, the only one I haven't seen is Blade Runner 2049, which, wow, I really should see that film.
Is Kong Skull Island what it kind of looked like from the trailer and there's just a bunch of digital noise being thrown at you? Or...
No, look, I have to say, actually, that the one saving grace of Kong Skull Island is the visual effects. And as far as visual effects and creature creation goes, Weta Digital know what they're doing. And the ape is tremendous. I don't think it's the best of the bunch. I had a bunch of friends who worked on Guardians, so it's hard for me to say this, but I thought the movie was a turd and I wasn't impressed with the VFX. I didn't think the VFX were anything great, and I didn't think they were as good as Volume 1. For my money, I think War for the Planet of the Apes has it.
It's pretty hard to go past them apes.
I think the motion capture work in that is incredible. And again, that was done by Weta, who, as I said, know what they're doing. And especially when it comes to motion captured characters, you just can't beat that achievement.
Yeah, the effects,
almost the entire film is fake characters, and they bring so much life to it.
The effects in Blade Runner are really, really good.
I really do need to see it.
It would get my second if I was doing gold and silver medals. Yeah, I would give the silver to Blade Runner, but it is pretty hard to go past them apes.
All right, sports bet. We'll go check.
Yep.
Very, very tight. They've got War for the Planet of the Apes at $1.72, Blade Runner 2049 at $2.10. From there, you go to Star Wars Last Jedi at $9, Guardians Volume 2 at $15, and Kong Skull Island at $21.
And as we've talked about before, the effects that we liked in Star Wars, we really liked.
Yeah.
But some of it we were like, ugh.
Yeah. So I definitely think it deserves to be there in the conversation, but I think that realistically, this is a race between War for the Planet of the Apes and Blade Runner 2049, and the others are just nice nods. Hop on to cinematography?
Let's do it. The one category that I really lose my shit at every year.
Yeah, I mean, you are
cinematography.
You are first and foremost a cameraman. Like we've both worked in and around different fields, as you said. We both do editing, but I mean,
but lighting and camera work is kind of my thing.
Whereas I pick up a camera and I shoot it, but
you think lighting is for other people.
We've had this discussion before that I believe that you don't need to light. In my defense, I don't think that's for everything. I think that there are some things you should light.
For instance, when you're indoors on a set. You might want to throw on a couple of bulbs.
I don't know, you chuck a light on, flick the switch.
So, for cinematography, we have Roger Deakins for Blade Runner 2049. As Billy said earlier, it's his 14th nomination. Yep. He's yet to win. We have Bruno Delbonnel, I'm probably getting that wrong, for Darkest Hour. We have the magnificently named Hoyte van Hoytema for Dunkirk. We have Rachel Morrison for Mudbound, and Dan Lorstson for The Shape of Water. So, Rachel Morrison is the only American up this year.
Yes.
It's been 6 years since an American won cinematography.
That's interesting.
The great Rob Richardson picked up his third for Hugo 6 years ago, which I expect to continue this year. Yeah. Because I think the cinematography in Mudbound is fantastic. I don't think Rachel Morrison's winning.
Yeah. Look, I think that Deakins is getting his career Oscar. Again, I haven't seen Blade Runner 2049. I'm sure it looks beautiful, as all of his movies do. Of the ones that I've seen, I thought Dunkirk was good. I personally want Shape of Water to win because I think the blending of the camera work and the visual effects, because cinematography, it's the entire look of the film.
Yeah, it's worth keeping in mind that a director of photography is a department head.
Yes.
You're a manager.
Yeah, you manage a lot of different things. It's not just, this camera goes here and this is the lens we're using. And for me, I thought the cinematography in Shape of Water was just gorgeous. So, but if I'm ticking a box to say, I think this will win, I think it's Deakins for Blade Runner 2049.
So I also think that Deakins will win because it's just gotten to this point where this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
I've gone back and forth over the past few weeks. I've gone back and forth a bunch between who I think should win because, as Deakins himself is at pains to point out, the cinematographer's job is not to create beautiful images. It's to serve the story.
Yes.
Now, Deakins makes a habit out of stunning visuals that also perfectly serve the story. It's the exact same thing with what you were saying with Shape of Water.
Yes.
Shape of Water is a really good looking film, and it's also
And it
perfect
serves
for the story.
Yeah, it fits the story it's telling.
HVH's work in Dunkirk is like a lot of that film is like the camera tells that story.
Yeah.
And it's one, a gorgeous film.
Yes.
And two, yeah, like, all right, this is on you. You've got to do it. And I think I was on Dunkirk. I've swung back to Deacons.
Okay.
I've watched another couple of things and I was just like, oh my, and because it's been a while since I haven't seen Blade Runner 2049 since it was on at the movies.
Yeah.
And I was watching some stuff last week and just was reminded of how stunningly good the work on that film is. And if it is a career Oscar, I will sleep easily with it.
Are you interested to hear what the bookies have to say?
Hit me.
They've got Blade Runner 2049 at $1.25.
Yeah, right.
Which is pretty damn close to a lock, because the next one on the list is Dunkirk at $5.60. All right, well, I guess if we're moving up, then let's go...
Moving on.
Let's
you don't
go...
move up from cinematography.
No.
We're going down the hill now.
Let's go adapted screenplay.
Yep.
Nominated for that, we've got Call Me By Your Name, Molly's Game, The Disaster Artist, Logan, and Mudbound. My money is all of the money on Call Me By Your Name.
Absolutely.
I
think that's a lot.
I haven't seen Mudbound, but I mean, of the ones I've seen, I think that Call Me By Your Name is the only contender. I thought Molly's Game was a turd. I thought the
You
disaster...
didn't think it was a turd. You have it 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
You thought it was a movie.
Yeah. I don't think it should be in this competition, though. Like, I think as a movie, it's fine, but it's not a best screenplay.
I agree.
I thought The Disaster Artist was okay, but not what I was hoping for. I'm all about Call Me By Your Name this year. Do you want to hear what the bookies say?
I'm guessing it's about $1.08.
Mate, $1.12.
Oh, I was way off.
So, yep, they agree that Call Me By Your Name is a lock. Yep. Because after that, you got Mudbound at $8.10, Molly's Game at $11.50, Logan at $13.50, and The Disaster Artist at $19.75. So, Call Me By Your Name is getting that award.
That's happening.
That is happening. The Bears have told you so.
It's at $1.12, so you've got to put $1 million on it to win any money anyway.
All right.
So we've been of no use.
No, we're useless as always. Next up, we've got original screenplay.
Yes.
And after this, we've got The Big Sick, Get Out, Lady Bird, Shape of Water, and Three Billboards, which, geez, again, I think this is a tough category.
This is a good category.
This is good. Even though it was my favourite film of the year, I think Shape of Water is probably the weakest of those screenplays. And I say favourite film of the year, that was before I saw Lady Bird, which I think actually takes it for me. And I think that screenplay is tremendous. I mean, this is really tough. What are your thoughts?
This is a really good category.
I think that Three Billboards is going to win it. I don't think that it should.
My money is on Three Billboards because I think that screenplay is another one of those things like editing where most can mean...
Yes.
Where most equates to best.
And it is the most written of
and
those screenplays.
I love the screenplay for Three Billboards.
I think it's great, but it's not what I would be voting for.
I probably couldn't go past Get Out.
I think that Get Out could be the sneaking winner. I think that Get Out has a really good chance of sneaking in there. And particularly because all of these screenplays are quite strong, I don't think there's one that all members of the Academy are rushing to vote for. So I think that the votes are going to be spread fairly thin across all of them.
Because like we were talking...
Which will leave one as the surprise.
With the fact that the member base of the Academy has changed and will continue to change, there's no longer that thing where you're like, okay, put yourself in the body of a 60-year-old white man, what do I vote for?
Yeah.
You can't quite do that anymore, thankfully.
Exactly. So I personally, if it was the Billy and Topher Awards, I would like Lady Bird or The Big Sick to win. But I think it's going to be Three Billboards, and I'd be very, very happy if Get Out snuck it in.
I think it'll be Three Billboards, and to be honest, I won't be upset about that. But if it was me, Get Out.
The bookies, oh my.
Ooh.
This is not what I was expecting. They have Get Out in the lead at $2.29. Then they've got Lady Bird at $2.90, with Three Billboards in third place at $3.50. That being said, all three of those numbers are very, very close together. So I think they're thinking the same as us. Shape of Water then at $13.50 and The Big Sick at $27. So I guess we're into our actors now.
Why don't we start off with a category that I think is just absolutely stacked. This is so strong. Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, I agree. This is...
So we've got Mary J. Blige for Mudbound, Alison Janney for I, Tonya, Leslie Manville for Phantom Thread, Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird, and Octavia Spencer for Shape of Water.
Yeah, I think that along with screenplay, this will be one of the toughest. For a long time, I thought that Janny was a lock.
So Janny's won. She won the SAG.
Yeah.
And she won the Golden Globe.
Yes.
She's kind of been running the table for awards season.
Although Metcalf could be a very strong contender. I really enjoyed Octavia Spencer in Shape of Water, but I think that she's probably the fifth one.
I agree, actually. And
Yeah.
that is saying something.
That's saying something.
Because we
when
both
she's
thought
fit,
she
because
was
I
great.
thought she was outstanding.
Like Mary J. Blige is fantastic in Mudbound. She's so good.
So this is tough. Alison Janney is great in everything, and she is in I, Tonya, but it is a fairly one-note role.
Like what she's got, she knocks out of the park.
Yeah, but geez, see, I think that Laurie Metcalf in Lady Bird had a lot more range, and I think in a lot of ways they're similar roles because they're kind of nasty mothers, but I think with Laurie Metcalf you also get that the love showing through.
Yeah,
so I think it's harder to...
I don't think of the mum in Lady Bird as a nasty mum.
No,
she's
no,
just
no.
a mum.
She's just a mum, which I think is much harder to portray. So my money is on Laurie Metcalf, but I wouldn't be surprised if this went any which way.
I think the role is on, and Alison Janney just cleans up.
You reckon it's Alison Janney?
I do, and I love Alison Janney.
Yeah. I'd be happy for her to win.
With the fact that if Alison Janney has an Oscar,
Yeah.
happy days. If it was me, I'm probably going Laurie Metcalf.
Yep.
But it's so hard to and this is one of the things that the madness of the Oscars and award season in general is they're such, in terms of tone and everything, and here I'm just talking about Janney and Metcalf.
Oh yeah, they're completely different films.
They're so different. The films are so different. The roles are so different.
And yet you're meant to compare one with another.
They both absolutely nail it. And you've got to say that one's better than the other. It is kind of madness.
Yeah.
Having said that, I'm going to do it and say that I think Metcalf should win.
But you think Janney will win?
I think Janney will win.
How close do you reckon the sports bet odds are, my friend?
I'm guessing that Janney's got a pretty clear lead here, like $1.80.
Actually clearer than that. Alison Janney's at $1.33. Then you've got Laurie Metcalf at $4. Mary J. Blige and Octavia Spencer both at $11. And Leslie Manville at $13.
Manville is fantastic.
Well, I mean, when you look at the other categories, we've seen most of the time that fifth slot's $20 plus. So the fact that she's only 13 shows that, it's anyone's game.
Oh, she's so good.
All right. How about we move on to supporting actor then, while we're at the supporting. So for this, you've got Willem Dafoe.
Michael Stuhlbarg. Oh, no, we don't.
You threw me off there. I was like, oh shit, he's not on my list. You've got Willem Dafoe for The Florida Project, Woody Harrelson for 3 Billboards, Sam Rockwell for 3 Billboards, Christopher Plummer for All the Money in the World, and Richard Jenkins for The Shape of Water.
Strong category.
I loved Richard Jenkins, but he's not a contender, I don't think.
I haven't seen All the Money in the World. You have, haven't you?
I have, and Christopher Plummer's good. At the end of the day, this nomination is just a fuck you to Spacey and a pat on the back for the Academy for doing the right thing by not promoting a sex pest. As if they had any other choice. If it hadn't been for the reshoots, he wouldn't be nominated.
Okay.
Because it's a fine role, but if you're going to nominate anyone from that movie, then it would have been
Michelle
Williams, who is typically wonderful.
Yeah.
Who is just about the only... I mean, she's up against fucking Marky Mark. Can't act for shit. But she...
Good in The Departed.
Yeah, he is great in The Departed. But she actually brings reality to a movie with Marky Mark in it. So,
Michelle Williams is just great.
So Christopher Plummer, for my money, he shouldn't even be there.
That should be Ray Romano?
It should be Ray Romano. Yeah, it definitely should be Ray Romano.
Like Alison Janney...
I think Rockwell's a lock.
All the momentum.
I think he's a lock, and not only that, I think of this list, he does deserve it. I think his character does have a lot of range and growth. I think he did a wonderful job with it. I loved Willem Dafoe in The Florida Project as well, but it's not as showy of a role.
Yeah, so I think this is actually really similar to... I think both the sporting categories are really similar.
Yeah.
Where the lock would appear to be the biggest performance.
Yes.
And I don't mean that as a sledge. It's just how it is. Whereas the potential spoiler, in this case, Willem Dafoe,
yes,
is the more grounded...
See, because the very early buzz was all about Willem Dafoe.
Yeah. And at that time, probably the Florida Project had more talk in general. So Willem Dafoe is, for people in the Academy that did love the Florida Project, Willem Dafoe is their only chance.
To give something to the Florida Project. Yes.
That's Willem, we're mates.
Yeah, I love you, Willem.
So that's something that's probably
in his
that's
favor
real
is that
chance,
if
I
you
think.
really loved the Florida Project and are like us upset it didn't get any other noms, this
Yeah.
is a way to say, hey, this is a great movie.
And like with the last category we talked about, like how on earth do you say which you think is better out of Rockwell and Dafoe?
Yeah,
Like, 'cause they're
because
so
Defoe is such an
different.
understated performance. It's, look, I think that the votes are going to lean towards Rockwell, so
I
that's where
agree.
my money is.
I don't know how to split Defoe and Rockwell if I was voting.
Yeah.
I really don't. Like
I
I think I think Sam Rockwell is just awesome, and I will be happy when he has an Oscar. So I'm kind of happy either way in this
Yeah.
category.
All right, well, Sportsbet have Rockwell at $1.30, Defoe at $4, which are almost the exact same numbers we saw for Janny and Metcalf in
Yeah.
supporting actors. The order they've got them in is probably the order that the votes are going to go. But yeah, there is always that chance for Defoe to sneak in, I reckon.
Sports betting places are famously good at their job.
Oh yeah, they know what they're doing.
There's a reason they're still in business.
They don't want
and
to
have
lose
all
money.
of your money.
So here we go. We're getting close to the big ones. Do you want to go actor or actress first?
Why don't we go actress?
So for this, we've got Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards, Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird, Margot Robbie for I, Tonya, Sally Hawkins for The Shape of Water, and Meryl Streep for The Post. And my God, this is another stacked category.
Isn't it just?
I think that this could be the absolute toughest category of all of them, only because I'm not saying that I think she should win, but I think a lot of the Academy probably think that McDormand has it in the bag, which could mean that you could see some votes going away from her from people who are like, oh, she's got it anyway, or
I think it's in the bag.
You think
I
it's
think
in the
this
bag?
is a mortal lock
Look,
for Frances McDormand.
I mean,
Despite the
Saoirse
quality
Ronan,
that's in there.
Saoirse Ronan is absolutely fantastic in Lady Bird.
Sally Hawkins is
fantastic in The Shape of Water.
Meryl Streep is Meryl Streep. Like,
She's
I think
Meryl
there's
Streep.
some kind... Like, no one's really talked... that I've heard, really. I haven't spoken to too many people about Meryl Streep in The Post because it's almost like there's some familiarity for...
Yeah, look, I mean,
where it's like, Meryl Streep is brilliant in The Post, but it's like, oh yeah, well, the sun rose. Meryl Streep's great.
Well,
we know.
As I said earlier, to me, a Spielberg historical drama with Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, it just doesn't interest me. And I'm sure it's good. I'm sure she's great in it. But, I mean, at some point, can't she just go, please stop nominating me? She doesn't care if
But
she
that's
wins
not a
or
reason not
loses.
to nominate her. If Meryl Streep's in the best 5 performances of the year, which she tends to be, then you nominate her.
Yeah, I guess.
Otherwise,
Look, I mean,
it's fraudulent.
I thought Margot Robbie was fantastic in I, Tonya as well. I thought that she was very, very, very good. So I think Margot Robbie suffers from the same thing Leo did for a long time. She's so pretty that people forget she can act. So I don't think she's a contender in this for that reason. I think that Sally Hawkins will probably be forgotten about for that performance, even though she was great and that movie was great. I just have a feeling that people are going to kind of... Because she's kind of... If you think about Shape of Water, you're kind of overshadowed by the fish man. You kind of forget about her a little bit, I think. I think it's, in reality, between McDormand and Ronan, but I think McDormand probably has it in the bag.
Yeah, I also think that Ronan's probably the closest competitor, but yeah, this is McDormand's award.
How close do you think they are in sports bets?
I will say that McDormand is at $1.25.
You're not far off, and I was wrong with how close I thought they'd be. So Frances McDormand at $1.14, then you've got nothing till Saoirse Ronan at $8. Sally Hawkins at $13, Margot Robbie at $21, and Meryl Streep at $51.
We mentioned before, so Meryl Streep's 21st nomination. Like, I mean, holy shit. Also, amazingly, Saoirse Ronan is 23, and this is her
she's
third.
younger. Yeah.
This is her third nomination.
I know.
At 23.
I know. And she
Like,
deserves all three
For
of them.
everyone like us who has no talent, it's been sucked into people like Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah. All right, let's hop in a Best Actor then. Do you think there's a lot of suspense in this category? Yeah, this is the Gary Oldman Award.
Award season has just been Gary Oldman appreciation months. Like,
Which
this is done and dusted.
I think is shit.
You haven't even seen it.
I haven't
How are
seen
you
it.
even having an opinion on this?
Because it's that cookie cutter Oscar bait crap.
Says the person who hasn't seen the performance.
What did you think of it, Toph?
The film itself is fine, but
Yeah.
we're not talking about the film. We're talking about Gary Oldman.
You're right. We're talking about Gary Oldman. And I'm sure he's great in it.
He's great.
So should I watch this movie based on his performance alone?
Yes, but that is
Okay.
the reason to watch the movie, is just to sit there and go, Gary Oldman's really good at his job.
Okay. I'll check it out. Because, I mean...
Which, again, not saying it's a bad movie. I liked it. But the reason to watch it is Gary Oldman.
All right. So other people in this category. You've got Timothée Chalamet for Call Me By Your Name.
P.S. One of us knows that his name is Timothée Chalamet.
Well, then why is it spelt that way?
You should tell him. You should probably call him up.
Daniel Day-Lewis for Phantom Thread, Daniel Kaluuya for Get Out, and Denzel Washington for Roman J. Israel Esquire. And boy, is that a weird nomination.
So that's the only one of these I haven't seen.
Have you heard of it?
I heard a bit about it, and I heard that Denzel Washington was really, really good.
I'm sure he's great
which
in it.
Is no surprise.
Yeah,
to
I'm
anyone.
sure he's great in it.
Of the others, man, that's a strong category.
Well, apparently not, because it's the Gary Oldman Award.
Yeah, but
I think
the same as we'll get to director.
Yeah.
You can be a strong category, but also have a lock.
yes, I personally think that Daniel Kaluuya is great. I would like for him to win, but I think he's probably the second lowest in the odds after Denzel. I think that this is a lock. I don't think there's any point even talking about it anymore.
Well, we can talk about it because there's some great stuff in there that we haven't talked about in another episode.
Let's talk about it then.
So both Call Me By Your Name and Phantom Thread we haven't talked about on this show. The lead performances in those films are well and truly beyond being good.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Call Me By Your Name yet, but from Lady Bird, I'm all about Timothée Chalamet.
And
I think he's great.
Timothée Chalamet's performance in Call Me By Your Name puts his performance in Lady Bird in the shade.
Yeah, right.
He's phenomenal. Daniel Day-Lewis in Phantom Thread
Is Daniel Day-Lewis.
has not been talked about much.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
Yeah, right. I think it's the same reason you were saying that you haven't heard anyone talk about Meryl Streep. Because he is Daniel Day-Lewis and nobody expects anything different. You know, a Daniel Day-Lewis performance is out of this world, but that's just him.
Yep.
So why would you talk about it? Yeah.
And I watched Phantom Thread only a few days ago, and there were times where I was sitting there looking at the screen and couldn't help but think, how is this Bill the Butcher from Gangs of New York?
Yeah.
Like, Daniel Day-Lewis
Just becomes the
is
character
a
he
freak
is.
of nature. He is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the fact that if he sticks to what I assume he means at the moment, which is that this is it,
Never
that
get
this is
another
the
performance from him.
last one we get, it actually surprises me that people aren't kind of treasuring this a bit more and talking about it more, because it's every bit what you expect from a Daniel Day-Lewis performance.
Yeah.
Which is to say, for me, it is the best performance in this category.
Yeah, right.
I think Gary Oldman will win, and to be honest, his performance in Darkest Hour is
Deserves to win?
absolutely Oscar-worthy.
Does it deserve to win of the ones that are nominated?
To deserve to win, you've got to be the best of the year, so I'd have to say no. But is it Oscar-worthy?
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's phenomenal. Unfortunately, there's this guy in the room called Daniel Day-Lewis.
Shall I end the
So
suspense?
Gary Oldman, I presume, is at like $1.12.
Is it $1.05?
$1.05?
So if you want to earn 5 cents on every dollar, go bet on Oldman because he's getting his award.
All right, so we're moving on to director.
Mm-hmm.
We have Chris Nolan for Dunkirk. We have Jordan Peele for Get Out. We have Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird. We have the always great Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread. And we have Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water. Now, here's
Another fairly stacked category.
Yeah, it is a good group, isn't it? Interesting little tidbit here. Every director in this category is also the writer of their film. First time that's ever happened.
That is a fun tidbit.
Yeah. Paul Thomas Anderson is the only one in there with a previous nomination, which, when you think Nolan and Del Toro, that's kind of surprising.
Yeah, and you've got 2 first-time directors in this category as well.
Yep. And increasingly in recent times, director and Best Picture really did used to go hand in hand. It was a shock when they didn't. Increasingly, over the last 5 to 7 years or something, often as not, it's been split up.
Yeah.
You think of Gravity winning Best Director. You think of Argo not even being nominated for Best Director. It's happened a bunch.
Yeah, it has.
The Revenant, of course, won Director but not Picture.
I think this category is tight because for my money, this could go any which way. I think Greta Gerwig has a really good shot. I think Jordan Peele has a really good shot. I think Guillermo's a lock.
So do I.
And
I actually don't think there's any suspense in this category.
Well, no, I think there is, only because you don't know the voters. I think that Guillermo, not only do I think he's a lock, I think his film was directed absolutely beautiful. I think he should win, but this could go any way.
So Guillermo del Toro, he recently won at the DGA. I think this is done and dusted. This is Guillermo del Toro's award.
Yeah?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I don't mean, which for me, I'm not saying I think he's that far ahead of the pack, because I don't think that. I just think that
Yeah.
voting-wise, I think Guillermo has this.
I agree with you that he will probably win, and I do think he deserves to, but I think that there's probably more suspense in this category than we think. But let's check what the odds say. And fuck me, I was wrong.
Is Guillermo is it in the $20s?
Oh my God, you're good at this game. He's at $1.22, my friend. Nolan is not terribly far behind with $3.75,
Yeah.
which surprises me because I would have thought that Greta Gerwig would hold that second place. She's in third at $9. Jordan Peele, $34. So they think he has no shot. And Paul Thomas Anderson at $51.
Oh, PTA.
So why are you even at the awards, PTA?
Don't turn up, mate.
Don't
go to a bar.
Just let a seat warmer take the seat, mate. All right. Here we are at the big one then.
We get to the pointy end.
The bestest picture.
All 9 nominees.
Yep. 3 billboards. Shape of Water, Lady Bird, Get Out, The Post, Phantom Thread, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Call Me By Your Name. 9 of them.
9.
Count them. 9.
Ooh, feel like we're into tomorrow.
Not 8. 9.
So this, I think for most of award season, this seemed like a straight fight between Shape of Water and 3 billboards.
In my initial notes that I have written down here, which I wrote about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I wrote that I think the only ones that actually have a shot are 3 billboards, Shape of Water, and Lady Bird. And yeah, I think that has changed in the 3 weeks. I think that due to the climate in Hollywood at the moment, I think that Get Out could very easily win. And I think, I mean, to be honest though, I think Lady Bird could just as easily win. I don't even really see Shape of Water as a contender. I think he's getting Best Director, but I don't think it's going to get Best Picture.
Interesting. So if Shape of Water wins Best Picture, it will be the first time in 22 years that a film that was not nominated for Best Ensemble at the SAG Awards won. Because of course, actors are the biggest block in the membership of the Academy, so you do need the love from actors. Now, it strikes me as strange that it wasn't up for
because
ensemble.
the ensemble are very strong.
Yeah, but it's a rarity to to be not nominated for that and win Best Picture. Having said that, I think Shape of Water is winning.
See, I don't even think it has a shot. I really don't. I honestly think that at the moment it's between 3 billboards, Lady Bird, and Get Out.
We've had 3 billboards take up both the Golden Globe and the BAFTA. Now, Golden Globe by no means marries up with Best Picture at the Oscars, and the BAFTA award I think kind of has an asterisk next to it because it's a film made by a British guy, which, I think does give it more weighting at the BAFTAs. So it's kind of got that momentum, but despite the fact that it's won both of them, I don't think it means that it's any kind of lock for the Oscar by any stretch. Shape of Water, of course, has won both the Producers Guild and the Directors Guild Awards in the States, which is some nice momentum.
I don't think that Darkest Hour or The Post are contenders. I don't really think Phantom Thread is a contender. I don't think Dunkirk really has a shot.
I'll tell you why I think Dunkirk is in the conversation. With the newer members, I think their votes will be spread across a lot of different films.
Yes.
Whereas going back to where you used to, if you were tipping the Oscars, you channel your 60-year-old white man.
Yeah, yeah.
Their votes, and that's still a fair chunk of the Academy. That's kind of some candy there for the old white man, I think, Dunkirk.
Yeah, right.
And it could still get a lot of votes from that chunk, I think. As well as that, you've got to think about the fact that Best Picture is done by preference voting. You don't just vote for your favourite film, you rank the films. Dunkirk, I think, is a film that this is going to help out. Since the kind of preference voting came in, it does open the door for films that are widely liked, even if they're not as absolutely loved. I think those two things do open the door for Dunkirk.
Okay. I think if I'm putting money on it right here, right now, I'm betting on Lady Bird. I would like The Big Sick to win.
But that's hard to do from outside the nominees.
Yeah,
historically.
I'm going to put my money on Lady Bird at this time. What are you going with?
I think Shape's got it.
You think Shape of Water's got it?
Yeah.
Should we check the odds?
Let's do it.
Yeah, mate. You could be right. For some reason, even though Three Billboards won the Globe, in my head I was like, I don't know how much of a shot it's got. But it's in at second place with Shape of Water at first. So we've got Shape of Water at $1.62, Three Billboards at $2.50, Lady Bird at $8, Get Out at $11. And then we go way down from there. The Post at 23, Dunkirk at 26, Call Me By Your Name at 41, Phantom Thread and Darkest Hour both at 67. The bookies agree with you that Shape of Water's good for it.
What was the actual number for Shape of Water?
$1.62. And they have Get Out at fourth still at $11. So if you go and buy the bookies, then it doesn't really have a chance. But I still think that it could sneak in there. My vote's for Lady Bird, though, if I'm voting, which I'm not. Okay. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of this.
Indeed. We'll wait and see whether there are any absolute shocks in this.
We'll wait and see.
So, as mentioned on Monday, going forward, the show will no longer be called Bears on Film. Is that right, Toph?
That's right.
What are we going to be called?
We watched a thing, and we will have watched a thing.
Will we have watched a thing next week? Because we actually didn't watch a thing today.
Yeah. What are we watching?
We'll be watching Red Sparrow.
That's right.
So going forward, if you want to get in contact with us, you can do that at wewatchedathing.com or at wewatchedathing on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You going to pipe in with something there?
No, I was done.
All right, catches.